Well, thank you very much. Yes, Member Chu.
Thank you, Chair. Member Chu just had a quick statement to give and a very small amendment. Chu would like me to say that as the chair of the API Legislative Caucus, Assemblymember Chu alongside Assemblymember Ting and their API caucus colleagues are working alongside the California Latino Caucus to push these items. And then the small amendment is just that he asked that the resolution be amended as follows. So where it says to pass legislation urged by the California Latino Legislative Caucus, just include and the California API Legislative Caucus. And with that amendment, he would request to be a co-sponsor as well.
So we have a motion to amend. Is there a second? Can we, second? Second by Lovett. Can we take that without objection? So without objection, just a show of hands of anyone else who would like to be added as a co-sponsor. I noted that I wanted to. I see Member Berry, Moliga, Baraka, Dufty, Chen. I think that's it. So with that note, on the resolution,
sorry.
Member.
Quick. Sorry, very quick. Just because this has a state budget ask component to it, we're gonna have to abstain. Thanks.
Thank you. So on the resolution as amended, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Abstentions. So Ting, Cohen.
Sorry, Ma as well, for
Great.
the same reason as Tim.
Thank you. And I just want to note, as someone who has actually previously fought with Gavin Newsom on the issue of undocumented individuals, that I am very proud to see what he has done in giving the undocumented population this benefit, and quite frankly, watching him over the years truly become a champion for undocumented people has been a great thing to see. And so thank you, Governor Newsom, and hopefully the legislature will do the right thing. With that, we'll move on to item number 13, which is a resolution urging Congress to pass legislation in response to COVID-19 that includes Medicare for all, frontline workers protection, and healthcare services infrastructure. Resolution by Avalos and Galata. So I'll turn it over to them. Member Avalos.
Great, thank you, Chair Campos, and we thank everyone for considering this resolution that we have before us. With the pandemic, our country has been exposed for being so ill-prepared to handle everyday crises that happen in people's lives that involve their health and their mental health care. And it's so important that we actually move ourselves forward to the holy grail of actually enacting Medicare for all, so that all U.S. residents can be protected for everyday issues and for this pandemic and future ones that can come forward. We also have a huge reliance that a lot of U.S. residents have on employer-based health insurance. But when there are so many U.S. residents who are losing their jobs, it really begs the question of how you're protected by employer-based health insurance when you are unemployed. And so the real solution is that we actually have a federal government that looks out for us, actually guarantees healthcare as a human right. We have the opportunity not to return to the old normal, but to actually remember the future of what our needs are going to be moving forward, for making sure that U.S. residents can thrive and not have to go broke or bankrupt because they have a medical crisis. We also have a lot of workers who are, putting themselves in very, very hazardous situations, whether they're essential workers, helping with our supply lines for food and nutrition and all of the essential services that we need, or frontline healthcare workers who are putting their lives at risk as they're running hospitals and working directly with patients to save their lives. And they're not getting the actual care they need. Some of them go into quarantine, and some of them actually have to be going to hotel rooms so they can't go home with their families and transmit this virus onto the family members. That should not be a cost out of their own pocketbooks, but we know that many hospitals around the country are requiring workers, if they want to go into quarantine to protect their families, that they're going to have to pay for that out of their own pockets. We can do better as a country. We can do better in the United States, the richest country in the world, and it really matters most of all. What really matters most of all is that we take the wealth that we have that's going to the top and making sure that everyday people can have the basic resources they need to be able to have healthcare that's so essential. We also need to make sure that as we're passing Medicare for All, which could very well be just lowering the eligibility age down to 0 years of age in a heartbeat, that we actually have to create an infrastructure for this as well. Our hospital system is so inadequate. We don't have the supplies and resources we need for pandemics. And it's really important that we take this political moment, this moment of crisis that we're in, that we have something better. This resolution speaks to that, and I would be honored to have your support, colleagues. Thank you very much.
Member Galata, do you want to say something? No? Okay. Anyone else? Great. Anyone else want to be added as a co-sponsor? I certainly want to be added as a co-sponsor. So Campos, Dufty, Baraka, Mahogany, Barry. I think that's it. So on the resolution, item number 13, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those say nay.
Aye.
Nay, no nays. Any abstention? So I know
Abstain.
Pelosi, who else?
Abstain. Spear.
Spear,
Malia Cohen.
Cohen,
Thank you.
anyone else? Well, the resolution passes. Thank you very much for bringing that forward. Item 14, resolution acknowledging systemic racial inequities and calling for a coordinated response to support the Black community during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is something that's been introduced by members Williams, Berry, Baraka, Levitt, Thomas, Galata. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor as well. So with that, Member Williams, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Campos. I'm really proud to bring forward this resolution to call for San Francisco to develop a coordinated response to support the community during the COVID-19 pandemic. The history of systemic racism in our country runs deep, and its impact is being made visible today with COVID-19. The Black community is overrepresented in COVID infections and fatalities. We're seeing them coming out in the news. We're hearing about this every day, and it is shameful. This is due to long-standing health disparities in the Black community. The mistrust of our health system runs deep in the Black community, as well as lack of access to healthy foods, lack of access to other things that will inspire a better quality of life. And so we also know with the recession that we're headed into, the economic impacts are going to be felt really deep in the Black community. And so what I'm calling for is really a coordinated response in San Francisco with our Department of Public Health to look at not only collecting data on race and ethnicity in terms of infections and fatalities, but actually also tracking outcomes and care and making sure that our Black community is getting the service it needs when it shows up to the hospital, when folks show up to the hospital to get care, that we're reaching out and increasing testing and access to personal protection equipment in the Black community, and also doing some direct outreach, social support, as well as economic support. And we have heard from Vice President Mike Pence and our Surgeon General that they want to make federal resources available just for this purpose. And so I would hope that we could seek out those federal resources to do this direct outreach. And I'll just keep it brief because I know it's late, and I know that Member Mahogany and Member Lacroix want to be added to this as well, and also want to make a quick amendment to put in the language to thank Speaker Pelosi and Representative Ayanna Priestley and Congresswoman Karen Bass and Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who actually got their Release the Data bill passed through the Senate, calling for release of racial data from the CDC. So this is moving at all levels of government, and we in San Francisco should be out in front of this and be leaders to address this. So with that.
Thank you. So we have a motion to amend. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second by, who was that?
Loftus.
Loftus. And so we can take the motion to amend without objection. And those of you who would like to be added as co-sponsors, please raise your hand so that our recording secretary can see you. And I see Speaker Pelosi, Member Duffy, Ronan, Ibanez, Chen, Lee, Loftus, Cohen, Lee, Maliga, Mahogany,
Spear.
and Spear. So those in favor of this resolution as amended.
Tongue also.
And who else? Sorry,
Tongue.
Tongue. So, thank you. So those in favor of the resolution as amended, say aye.
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 And any abstention? It passes unanimously. Thank you very much for bringing that forward, Member Williams and other co-sponsors.
Thank you all so much for your support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, item number 15, which is a resolution calling on the Department of the Treasury to protect stimulus payments from garnishment by debt collectors. And this is something that was introduced by Member Thomas. So Member Thomas, the floor is yours. And co-sponsored by Members Campos, Williams, and Galata.
Thank you, Chair Campos. I'm proud to bring this resolution forward today to talk about protection of stimulus payments for the most vulnerable Americans. As we all know, under the initial variant of the CARES Act, there were payments that were sent out, and they were limited by income caps to target those who could most use them during this time of the COVID-19 outbreak. And one of the challenges that we've seen in the media is credible reports that a lot of the most vulnerable individuals are having their stimulus payments confiscated through debt collection or bank fees when these are direct deposited into their bank accounts. And the first thought was there ought to be a law about that. And so I consulted with Speaker Pelosi's office, and they were able to help me with researching this. And it turns out there is a law that about this. We already have an entire banking infrastructure in place that protects distributed payments from the federal government to vulnerable individuals. If you receive Social Security payments or SSI or something like that, there's a notification requirement that goes into the banking system that requires a protection of a certain amount of money so that debt collectors and bank fees can only come after dollar amounts that are over and above that. And the way to trigger that is the Treasury just has to code the payments properly to trigger that. And they did not do that in this case, which means that all these payments are sort of classified as unprotected transfers. And as a result, a lot of the most vulnerable Americans are having their stimulus checks confiscated by banks and other debt collectors. So this resolution calls on the Treasury Department to simply use the power they already have to code the payments properly so that our most vulnerable residents would be protected and be able to use this money for food, rent, and medicine and things like that that the payments were designed for. And I would appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Any comments from anyone? And if you want to be added as a co-sponsor, please raise your hand. So Member Ronan, Member Mahogany, Member Mandelman, Member Chen, Member Ibanez, Baraka, and Loftus, Ma, Spear, and Speaker Pelosi. And Member Duffy, my apologies, and Member Lovett.
And Member Cohen.
And Member Cohen, sorry.
Member Barry.
Sorry, oh, Member Barry, my apologies.
And
Maliga. So on the resolution, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? None.
Good work, AJ. Good work.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much for bringing that forward. And now on item number 17, number 16, which is a resolution by Member Loftus, co-sponsored by Duffy, Shea, Lee, Mandelman, and Maliga, is a resolution in support of Congress directing the Small Business Administration to eliminate discriminatory eligibility requirements to access needed supports. So Member Loftus, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So since there's zero chance any of my children will go to bed until this is over, I will make it quick. You have the resolution before you. I want to thank Chair Campos and Karima and Member Galata for helping get this before you. This is very simple. Congress recognized that there need to be an influx of capital in small businesses. They provided that money. The Small Business Administration had to set regulations, and the regulations they set are completely discriminatory, and they overreach beyond normal SBA loans, and they restrict people who have criminal convictions and arrests. They go even beyond to classifying you being in a diversion program. And I know our public defender is here, Manhar Raju. So being in a diversion program, they require you to disclose if you've got a sealed criminal record, which I know the public defender's done so much work to clear your slate. This is really wrong-headed policy. And we know that it's going to have a disproportionate impact on communities of color based on the fact that they're overrepresented in our justice system. So when we talk about racial disparities, sometimes it's these small little rules that they place that cut out entire communities from access to capital. And I'm delighted that we actually have been joined by Member Berry, Member Avalos, Member Chen, Dufty, Haney, Shea, Lacroix, Lee, Mahogany, Mandelman, and Maliga. And I'd be delighted, colleagues, if you would join. Other groups that are proposing this, just so you know, is the ACLU, Cut 50, Drug Policy Alliance, and a number of other people who are doing incredible work on the federal level. And I think this is an important moment for the San Francisco Democrats to stand up for a proposition that we believe fundamentally, but needs to be heard in Washington. And I'd ask for your support.
Thank you, Member Loftus. And I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. If you'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, please raise your hand. So Member Williams, Galata, Lovett, Tung, Ronan, Cohen, Raju, Thomas. Is there anyone else that I've missed? I think
Ibanez.
Ibanez, my apologies. So we have a motion on this resolution. Can we have a motion on this resolution? Who is that?
So moved, Williams.
Support.
Second.
Seconded by Duffy. So on the resolution, thank you, Member Loftus, for bringing this forward. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any abstentions?
Abstain. Pelosi.
Pelosi. Any other abstention? Great. So it passes. Thank you very much for bringing this important issue forward.
Thank you,
now,
everyone.
thank you.
Susie.
And now we will move to item number 17,
Mr. Chair.
which is a resolution.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Who is that? Yes, Member Cohen.
Yes, I'm sorry. Item 17, is that adjournment? Are you getting ready to adjourn?
No, we amended the agenda to item 17 is a resolution
Okay.
that was introduced by Member Chen.
Okay, my apologies.
Sure.
I'll come back after we deal with
Okay,
the resolution.
sure,
Thank
sure.
you.
So there's a resolution introduced by Member Chen condemning anti-Asian racism and xenophobia and urging stronger governmental response to prevent and address hateful attacks on the Asian American community. This is co-sponsored by members Shea, Kim, Lee, Lovett, Moliga, Galata, Campos, Mahogany, Williams, Tung, Thomas, and as the husband of an Asian American man, this is very personal, and want to thank Member Chen for bringing it forward. So Member Chen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Campos. I think throughout time, a lot of API communities have been targeted with racism, but ignored. Cases like Mimi Tape, Vincent Chin, Angel Island internment camps, and just discrimination against our Muslim, South Asian communities. It shows that there has been a trend, but nobody's really talking about it. Just going back to my resolution, stop the hate APPI. Stop the APPI hate. They did a survey kind of like to collect information because there is an underreporting of hate crimes in the Asian community. And they found that there was between March 26th and April 1st, there were 1,135 cases reported. discrimination due to COVID-19. Most of it was verbal harassment, physical assaults, being coughed on, being spat on. 68% of the people being harassed were women, and 42% of the cases being reported were in California. So it just shows the need that we need to protect our women, and especially in California, because you won't expect to see something like this. So I just urge that we pass this resolution. And I know the Board of Supervisors passed something similar to this 3 weeks ago. So thank you.
Member Chu?
Thank you, Chair. Member Chu just wanted to add that this is obviously a issue that's near and dear to his heart as the chair of the API Legislative Caucus. Assemblymember Chu has been outspoken in condemning anti-Asian violence and helped to launch the online reporting center to stop API hate and to track hate incidents around the country. And he'd very much like to be added as a co-sponsor to this resolution.
And I know that Member Avalos wants to be added. And if there's anyone else that wants to be added, please raise your hand. Member Mandelman, Barry, Speaker Pelosi, Member Ting, Member Hua, Congresswoman Spear, anyone else, Member Cohen, and Member Duffy, and Member Haney.
And Member Ma and Treasurer Ma, please.
And Loftus.
Member Loftus, Ibanez, my apologies.
Ronan.
Everyone, Member Ronan. Great. So thank you again for bringing this forward. Can we have a motion to approve this resolution?
Moved.
Motion by Galata, seconded.
I'll second that.
Who was that?
It's Member Lee.
Okay, Member Lee. So on the resolution, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Thank you very much, Member Chen, and all the co-sponsors for bringing this item forward. This is very important, so appreciate it. Now we'll move on to item number 16, which is new business. And I'm gonna take the liberty of just making one comment about a very special person who just celebrated her 100th birthday. And that is the one and only, the amazing Jane Morrison. And there was actually a video that was created for her. And for those of us who have been involved in the DCCC for quite some time, you know, for those who haven't as been involved as long as some of us, that Jane Morrison actually served this year for a number of years. She served this party in so many different capacities, and you know, she's still involved. You still see her to this day at all these events. You know, if you go to breakfast put on by Speaker Pelosi, Jane Morrison is there. And coming up through San Francisco politics, there were so many events hosted that Jane has hosted at her home. And really anyone who wanted to be involved in San Francisco politics and wanted to show that they were, you know, committed and serious and that they were doing well, you know, were at those parties. So just want to, on behalf of myself, but really ask the committee that we wish Jane Morrison a very happy birthday. And with that, I would ask that we actually do something that I don't know if it's ever been done at a DCCC meeting, that we have a Zoom sing-along and wish Jane Morrison a happy birthday. And everyone,
that means we all have to unmute, David.
Unmute your microphone so that we can sing happy birthday to Jane. So ready?
Carrie, start us off.
Who's going to start us off?
You. You're
Okay.
the chair.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
you. Happy birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Birthday,
birthday, dear
happy
Jane.
birthday
Happy
to
birthday to you.
Anymore.
Yay.
Hey,
James
Jay.
Morrison, only you would do that for. So, it wasn't necessarily in tune, and it's not American Idol, but it's the intention that counts. So that's the only thing that I have in terms of new business. Any other items that folks want to point out for any events that are happening or anything that they would like to have added to the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to rescind the vote for item 13.
Okay.
Apologies, colleagues. Mr. Chair, I just want to go on the record as support of that item.
Okay. Can we, in terms of asking our parliamentarian, can we just add the vote, change the vote, or do we need to rescind the vote?
I think if there's a unanimous, no objection.
Without objection, we'll just add Member Cohen as an aye on item 13.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
David,
Yes.
can we adjourn in memory of Phyllis Lyon? Is that?
We will get to adjournment, but actually, why don't you do that? Why don't you speak to that? And I know that that's something that for many of us in the LGBTQ community, it's very important. So Matthew, on behalf of Member Wiener.
Well, it's my honor on behalf of the center to ask the committee to adjourn in memory of Phyllis Lyon. Those of us who've worked with her and known her and looked up to her. She is an icon and someone who really changed the world. Isn't that something when you think about it? She and Del Martin changed the world in the way that people looked at the relationships of gay men and lesbians. And till the end of her day, she was inspiring us all to work harder. And I'm just proud. When I think of the people in my life, it's not about me, but when you think of the people in your life that you've met or you had the opportunity to shake hands with, right? My great aunt shook hands with Bobby Kennedy, or I was able to shake hands with Cesar Chavez. These are things that really I'm proud of. Having been known Phyllis Lyon and Del Martin is something that something that all of us as San Franciscans can say we really knew someone who changed the world.
Well, I don't think that I can say any other better. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Senator Wiener. Anyone else? And so with the objection, I would ask, as requested, that we adjourn in memory of Phyllis Lyon. So if anything else? Okay, so seeing no other business before the committee, now we're moving on to item 17, and this meeting is adjourned. I want to thank everyone for participating, hanging in there. Thank you can we give a round of applause to Karima Lynch, who put this together and who hung in there with us. And, one thing that I would say is that based on everything that I've seen, I think it's unlikely that we will be having this meeting in person next month. So I think it's probably fair to assume that we'll be doing another Zoom meeting next month for this DCCC. So to all the people that are tuned in, that are watching, and we're on Facebook Live for a little bit, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
David. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Be
everyone.
safe. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.